Hey guys, Fearu here, and this is gonna be episode one. Um, and I was debating on one of the many topics I talk about. I have a lot of plans, a lot of options of different things to discuss. Maybe I want to discuss hand theory. Um, but you know what? I decided for the first episode, I want to discuss something that absolutely drives me insane. Um, and it's huge generalizations that people make right away. Or not right away, but that they kind of set themselves up for. If you ask for like, oh, if someone like wants help, and you say, hey, tell me about your hand, and they'll go, okay, well, I was at the seat and I'm playing tag or I'm playing lag, I'm playing loose, my opponents are playing passive. Um, those terms bother the crap out of me. I'll explain what I mean in a minute, but let me ask you a question. Sit down at a 1-2 table. You've been playing for, let's say, 2 hours, and you're under the gun, full ring, and you get ace king. How much do you bet? Now, take your time, think about it. Let me know when you have an answer. And now here's the problem. None of you should have an answer. No one. No one should be able to say, this is what I'm going to do there. And the problem is, a lot of you were like, yeah, I know how much I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet 10, I'm going to bet 8, maybe depending on where you play, you're going to have a different answer. And that's my point. Um, whatever table you're at could vary what an optimal bet strategy is. And that's what I want us to think about. Optimal bet strategy. When someone says, "Hey, what's your style? Do you play loose? Do you play, do you play loose aggressive, tight aggressive, maybe a slag? Insert whatever." And I tell them I play optimally. My goal is to maximize my profit. So the answer is whatever I think will lead to the most profit at the end of a hand, and that could vary depending on the table. And that's kind of like one of the biggest things I like. It just bothers me so much. People are always like, I know exactly what I'm going to bet. They have their cute little strategy written down, or they'll describe a table and yeah, they won't give enough hand history between their opponents, and they won't go into real depth of actually thinking about kind of that second level of play, where what does he think I have? Um, and that's a big problem. That's something that needs to be fixed. Let me open up some images for you. Kind of, let me see if I can better describe this. Okay, so I want you guys to be able to follow what I'm saying. So I want to kind of re-explain it with a little more depth. Let's say you go to the poker room at 8 a.m. and you see this group of people, this lovely group of old people at the table. Well, pretend there's 9 of them, and you play with them for 2 hours. You try raising to 10 initially when you sit down, and no one calls, and you realize this is definition of a nitty game. Um, Even 8 and 7's bad. 6 is about the sweet spot where you're going to get about 2 to 3 callers, or let's say 1 to 3 callers. And they're just a bunch of coffee drinkers in the morning. They're the Breakfast Club. Um, you get pocket aces under the gun. How much do you raise? With the information I just provided to you, how much do you raise? Okay. Now we're gonna go to the opposite. Pretend you got 9 of this guy. This guy. Um, so you played with him for 2 hours. This is gonna be a Friday night at we'll say 4 a.m. Nothing good happens ever after midnight, so we'll say 4 a.m. There's 9 of this guy sitting at the table. Um, he calls everything. He has not called. He's your dream opponent. If you bet anything, he has called it. Period. You've seen everything all the way down, and you get pocket aces. With the information I've just provided you, you get pocket aces under the gun. What do you do now? Now I hope you get my point. Now, obviously, this is an extreme exaggeration, but with the information I give you, you bet some drastic, crazy amount with crazy guy, and with old people, you're gonna bet less, hoping to play optimally to get the most bang for your buck. And that's kind of my point. is depending on how the table's going, and this is something you might have, like, you're gonna be like, oh, you know, I do that. I play, I'm gonna change how I play depending on what the table's doing. But do you really? When I initially asked, you know, oh, what do you do under the gun? You sit, you've been at a table for 2 hours and you have ace king. Do you have a rough idea? And what you said might be close to optimal play. It might be remotely in the area, but it could be better. Is my point. Everything can always be better, and more importantly, every time you finish a hand, you should be asking yourself, did I play that perfect? Could have I played it better? Could have I bluffed and risked less? Could have I got paid off more? And you don't always, sometimes, oh, you'll be like, oh, he would have called me if I would have bet, X more there. Um, but sometimes that doesn't even mean that's optimal. There's a lot of theory crafting as to what you could have done better, and you'll never know had you bet this, what the opponent would have done. But if you don't think about it, you're never going to improve on your future betting patterns. I mean, you can find out when and it's more importantly when something goes wrong. When you lose, you need to take that information with you going into the next few hands. Um, and we'll get into table image later, but I mean that's something I wanted you guys to think about right away, particularly just when you're typing things on forums, especially hands you've just finished and what your table image is immediately. Like, oh, I've raised the last 3 hands, so I did X. Um, the level of thinking at most of these cash games, like especially for 1, 2, 2, 5, um, they don't usually get too in depth. You don't need to be thinking insanely hard to make money, but to make the most money, you need to be constantly thinking, what could have I done better? And that's kind of the first note I wanted to leave you on. Um, Hopefully this was enlightening, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the first one. Um, we'll get into later ones later, I guess. Um, until next time.